Avengers.
Endgame.
Holy fuck. All right, David,
Alexa,
do your joke that you want.
play Hurt by 9 Inch Nails.
Hurt by 9 Inch Nails from Spotify.
Okay, now stop before we get copyright. Thank you. Okay. I'm gonna let you
Alexa,
start.
stop.
I'm gonna let you start, David. Go ahead.
Holy fucking shit, my dude.
All right, I lied. Now I'm starting. Best part of the movie, I'm just going to throw it out right out there, is when they kill Thanos in, like, the first 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
That shit. Oh, and by the way, if you thought this was going to be spoiler-free, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I'll
Come back when you watch the movie.
I'll legitimately put a warning on this one so we don't get more hate.
Oh, yeah. Dude, can we just talk about late game Thor?
Yeah. Oh, God, okay.
Dude.
How do you feel about that? Because I'm so torn because it was funny, but I kept expecting him to turn back somehow.
I'm like, okay. Dad bod Thor, best boy, protect
Is
infinitely.
That a dad bod?
Goddamn.
That's more of that went beyond
No,
dad bod.
It went to like some Big Lebowski bullshit.
Like,
that was a little nod that they put in there.
Ugh.
That is alcohol's ultimate effect on you when you wallow in self-pity, my dude.
You know what's funny, too? This is a movie that has such a good budget. Everything looks so realistic. That was the most fake-looking fat I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, my God, yes.
it's like
you know what's so... Okay, this is slightly shitty for me to say, but I wonder how many women were still thirsting over Thor.
I wonder. I mean, he's got the accent still. The accent is like 50% of it.
Oh my God.
So this is going to be a long video. We got a lot to talk about. So I guess I'm going to start off by asking you this, David. For you, is this a perfect movie or do you have criticisms?
I have some slight criticisms.
I do as well. I'm going to say overall it was a really fucking enjoyable ride, but I also do have it. So do you want to start with criticism or do you want to start with good shit?
Right now, I want to say this could not have been a more perfect send-off to the classic Avengers.
This was a fucking love letter to every Marvel movie to ever come out because they literally
so many nods to every other Marvel movie. They
quite literally time travel back into other Marvel movies.
I'm going to link a video that I watched before we filmed this that had a bunch of the fucking Easter eggs.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
some of them went over my phone.
Did anyone expect the current Avengers to time travel back to the original Avengers movie and then like, I'm sorry, like there's moments where they're fighting over the Tesseract and then it gets bumped over to Loki's foot and then Loki has this face of like, huh, okay. That shit was so funny.
You can see the shitting grin under the gag.
Oh my God, yes. Loki! Like, you know what? To me, that was a face. Loki. He's just been through a hell of a lot of shit. He got fucking puny godded by Hulk, you know, and that was just Loki. Like, man, there is a God looking out for me. Thanks, God. Hell yeah.
Okay, so there's 3 Easter eggs that.
Fuck the Easter eggs. I want to talk about the movie.
No, because it all ties into the fucking movie. There's 3 Easter eggs I really want to talk about. At the ending of the movie, did you see that kid in the background that you're like, who the fuck is that?
No, I've read all the articles. That was the kid from Iron Man 3, yeah.
Yep, that was the kid from Iron Man 3. The one criticism I had was with the women power scene.
Okay, I'm so glad you brought that up. Listen, bro. Stop.
Actually, before we say anything, I
want to say here. We can both give our little preludes here. I love it because, by the way, I watched Nostalgia Critics review. They said the same thing, so don't worry. It's not like we're being out of the box here.
Oh, I know.
But like literally, I love almost all of the women characters. Like Valkyrie. Oh my God, godly. I love Valkyrie. And I'm so glad that she actually got to be the new leader of the new Asgard. That's awesome. The only issue is, it really takes you out of the moment where they have this forced, like, and now all the women are in the same place, and we're going to have a woman fight. It's so weird. Like, they did the same thing in Infinity War, and to me, that's just so unnatural. Like, why?
It was a scene of diversity for the sake of diversity.
I visibly rolled my eyes during that scene.
I'm just like, God damn it, you're doing an A4 scene, and you're forcing it. Fuck you.
Again, like, all these characters individually doing their own thing, that's great. It just felt weird to have, that was such an out of place, taking me out of the moment scene. Because it was like, and here's your diversity shot. It's like, come on.
If you want to do an A-Force movie, do it right, okay?
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I mean, oh my god. This is going to be scatterbrained, but fucking get used to it. So, no, I want to take it back to I want to talk about our first reactions when they just fucking lop off Thanos' head first 15 minutes.
Oh my god, dude. I'm just like, I took a trip to my old work because one of my friends isn't going to get to see it till Sunday. And I want to be a little bit of a dick because he spoiled Captain Marvel for me.
Bro, that's don't never spoil that. I don't. Ugh.
Oh, I didn't spoil anything.
Captain Marvel does not equate to this movie.
No, I'm just like, well, wow, Thor really went for the fucking head.
Yeah, he did tell me to go for the head.
I'm like, don't worry, I'm not a complete dick like you. I didn't spoil anything major in the first like 20 minutes of the fucking movie, asshole.
I do want to talk about. That was the moment where I knew this movie was going to be something special, because that was the moment where I was like, oh, they're going to do something weird. Like, it's going in a direction I don't expect. And now here's something I want to talk about that I enjoy. And it's going to lead into my major criticism of the movie here, okay? I'm not sure if anyone else will have this same criticism because I haven't seen it yet, but like this is my genuine criticism of the movie. I was a big fan of Thanos in Infinity War. I like any villain that their whole thing is genuinely feeling like what they do is the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I loved Thanos and found him fascinating in Infinity War because his whole thing was, he was fascinating to me because he literally was like, oh, once I get this job done, the universe will be grateful. Like, he literally said, I will sit and bask on a grateful universe. He, like, as he's fighting the Avengers, he doesn't want to kill them. There's no ill will there. He's just like, you guys don't understand. I'm talking about Infinity War, Thanos, keep in mind.
I know.
So, you know, he's just like, and this is going to be about a 3-minute rant, so just kind of let me finish it, and then I'll have your thoughts. It's just, this is one that's I've been holding on to for a while.
I'm sending you that video to link in the comments.
Okay.
While you do this.
So you have Infinity War Thanos, whose whole thing is he's very, very stuck on this idea of like, this is what the universe needs. Even if people don't know that they need it, right? And he's convinced that once he does it, everyone will be like, oh, how wrong we were. Glory to Thanos. He was right all along. You know what I mean? So one of my favorite moments, I'll be honest, probably my favorite moment in this entire movie is that first little chunk where they go see Thanos, because I love villain psychology. And what I love about that scene is Captain Marvel goes down to scout, and she's like, there's no guards, there's no army, there's no nothing. It is literally just him on this planet. Again, to me, showing his hubris. He doesn't even think for a second that anyone would come to try to attack him or anything, because to me, he genuinely thinks like, yeah, of course they're grateful, you know. And when they go down to him, he says, you should be grateful. What the fuck? I love delusional villains like that, because it's the same. That's the same kind of mentality that you see in like terrorists in our world. A lot of these people that are killing themselves, blowing themselves up, they think that they're doing right by their god. And that's what makes a fascinating villain, because a true evil person thinks that they are righteous. So Thanos, first 15 minutes Thanos in this movie here is fascinating to me. And adding on to that, he destroys the stones, which I found amazing, because, like, again, that is so righteous of him. He literally took all that damage. He's limping. He can barely walk. Half his body's burned up. And he did that so he would destroy the stones, because he said, and one of my favorite lines in the entire movie is, my goal is completed. Beyond that, everything is moot. The stones would just be a temptation. So he, in a very righteous move, was like, hey, I did what I needed to do. I didn't want the temptation of the stones anymore. Like, that is fascinating psychology to me. Do you agree with me on that?
Oh, yeah. Here, this is something that they pulled right out of the fucking comics. Okay, and I think you would remember this scene from the trailer. While they're on that very scene you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I just sent you 2 pictures in Skype. Now, he literally, at that point, saw himself as essentially the god of the new world. He no longer needs his armor, his weapons, his anything. Yeah. Because he really thinks that he has done right by the world. Like you said, and it's fucking fascinating that you brought into, like, the terroristic fucking nature of Thanos here. Because
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities to him in like a
Oh, yeah.
terrorist. Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities to him and something that will always be considered the God complex too, because he thinks he is this ultimate being by
He thinks
doing
he has
this.
to fix the universe.
Yes, and he's created this perfect vision of his world, and yet nobody is satisfied, which is perfectly diving into human nature. We never are fucking satisfied.
Yes, the grass is always greener.
So when we fast forward to this vengeful Thor lopping the head and the arm off of fucking Thanos, just to literally prevent him from snapping again.
Well, no, I mean that wasn't. Keep in mind that's not the case at all. The stones were done.
Yeah,
he couldn't have
but
snapped again.
They didn't know that.
No, hold on. Yes, he did. 100%. He literally said that the stones are destroyed, and then Nebula was like, "My father does not lie. My father is many things, but a liar is not one of them." They knew that the stones weren't there. Thor killed him out of revenge.
After they lopped the gauntlet off, he's like, "They're gone. The stones are gone." Yes,
so
they knew then, but when they lopped the gauntlet off, they're thinking, "Where are they?"
Yes, they lopped his hand off. I thought you meant his head. Yeah.
Once they lopped the hand off, they're like, "Where the fuck are the stones? Where the fuck are the stones?" That is literally the ultimate fuck you.
But don't you find that like very fascinating? Because my favorite thing in fiction is when a villain is in some areas more moral and more righteous than the heroes.
Oh yeah.
So for example,
honestly was fucking fascinated there.
What I love about that, like for example, Meruem in Hunter x Hunter, one of my favorite villains of all time. You have an interesting role reversal there where like Netero is the one that's just like, I don't want to talk, I just want to kill you, because he sees him as a threat to the world, whereas Meruem in that case, the supposed villain, is like, no, I want to talk things out. So what I really like that little detail that he self-destructed the stones, which was foreshadowed greatly because the reason they found the planet he was at was that there was another huge cosmic explosion that was him destroying the stones. So basically, this ties into my main complaint with the movie, and here's the complaint. When Thanos comes back, through the time travel, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff here.
Yes.
Thank you. When he comes back, I understand why he had a character shift, because he has a character shift and he has a character development moment, which is basically the way I look at it was, okay, motherfuckers are now time traveling to try to stop me. Fuck this! I'm restarting the universe. I can't, because apparently, no matter what I do, people are going to be unsatisfied. I understand that character shift, but to me, that made him a significantly less interesting villain.
So that kind of ties into this more recent run of fucking Thanos here.
Well, I think they were trying to make him more close to the comic version of Thanos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Which,
where he does...
I'm sorry, MCU Thanos, way more interesting. In my opinion.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Old school Thanos was just as interesting as fucking this MCU version, but now they're trying to...
like a love interest, yeah. Okay,
they're trying to tie it into the Thanos that wants to fuck death or fucks death or whichever iteration you want to dive into here. Anyway, they're tying it more into that because now that they have... I don't know if it's because they have the rights to that universe now, but I kind of see it as in like we're going to introduce death and kind of do all this bullshit with Deadpool and everything else now that we have it after Phase 4 because they said
they should introduce death in the next Deadpool, and that'd be funny as fuck.
Well, they've already said they're not really touching Kevin Feige, I think his name is. Basically said they're not touching any of the stuff they acquired from Fox until after Phase 4.
That's fair, but here, probably because it's already been half made. But continuing on what I was saying, the line that made me. Because I wanted your thought. I instead of just talking about random contract shit, I do want your thoughts on what I'm saying here. The line that made me kind of about this new version of Thanos was where he basically says, in all my years of conquest, it's never been personal, but I will enjoy what I do to your planet, right? Again, and that just made him very Saturday morning cartoon villain to me. Now, I understand at this point he's just there to have a godly action scene. But like what I always loved about Josh Brolin's Thanos here was that he really when he spoke there was a regret, there was a pensiveness. There was he when he spoke it was him genuinely trying to get through his ideas to people. Like one of my favorite conversations is in Infinity War with Thanos and Doctor Strange. The way that Thanos is talking he's genuinely trying to get Doctor Strange to understand his point of view. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like, he's like, please understand, like, just get where I'm coming from here, you know? And
please understand.
Because he, you know, when he's like, I see it as mercy. And he was even trying to be like, listen, like, you know, if I get the Infinity Stones, they won't feel pain, it'll be random, the line that really got me to start empathizing with him was it wouldn't discriminate between rich and poor, it wouldn't discriminate between race. It would be a pure, and so like he has a weird sense of morals, and that's kind of what I liked about Thanos, and this carried over to the first 15 minutes with, first 15 minutes Thanos, he continued this by destroying the stones to get rid of temptation, but again it just seemed like once we got this Thanos, he reverted to just like, I'm evil and I'm a bad guy, let's go, and I'm like, oh
yeah,
I was hoping for more of that pensive Thanos that we got in the original, or in the first movie. That's my literal only complaint with the movie. Other than that, I think it was godly. But your thoughts on my complaint there?
See, I'm kind of torn. I get a lot of why they made him the generic bad guy for the last, what we're going to call the last 40 minutes of jizzing our CGI budget all over the screen.
The longest action scene I've ever seen in a movie, period.
Okay, and just to clarify, not only are we getting our hearts torn asunder here, Game of Thrones fans like me are getting our hearts torn asunder on fucking Sunday. So, yeah, this week isn't good for me.
Any final thoughts on my Thanos thing?
My thoughts on the Thanos thing is, I get that they were trying to make it like, we want you to hate this motherfucker because now he sees human nature can never be fucking changed. So he wants to basically reset the universe, which is more in tune with the more current comics. I get it. I absolutely agree with you 100% that the more pensive fucking Thanos is a better character. You know? But
because like, especially like the part where when you see him limping around and just how weak he is, like, it's just fascinating to see that.
It's definitely a fascinating way to do this little character shift that we've got here in the movie. But what really, really got me was when he was talking to his children on the fucking ship and talking to Nebula and all them. I think when he saw that we had the time travel to try and erase what had happened.
Oh yeah, I get totally where he's coming from. Like, imagine you have a goal, like a goal that you spent decades on, and then all of a sudden you see proof that you completed this goal in some alternate reality / timeline, and now there's fuckers trying to, like, basically the Terminator style travel back and stop you, right? Like, that would piss me off. I'd be like, fuck, I do it, and then motherfuckers are like, what? So I get why that changed him. It just, I won't lie, it made him less interesting to me.
Because, it definitely made him less interesting. But when they were on the ship and seeing all this, I felt bad for Thanos. I really did. I'm like, motherfucker, you got your W, and there's still motherfuckers trying to fucking give you an L.
That's a good point. Yeah, because he's like, this is his goal, and he's like seeing some other version of me
it's
got
his
it,
destiny.
and they won't even let him have it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I honestly probably would have done the same thing if I was him. Like,
there was a
you
good
know what?
line. There was a line. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was something like, your failures, you couldn't accept your failure, and that brought you right back to me, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool because, again, like, he's basically talking from a perspective that he's talking from a reality that he doesn't even know of. Like, he just knows that the people he's fighting, like, keep in mind, he doesn't, like, know these guys that well. He's been passively kind of observing the Avengers, but he hasn't, like, interacted with them yet, this version of Thanos. So to him, it's just like, he just has the knowledge, like, ha, you guys got fucked up by future me. That's hilarious.
You guys got fucked up by future me. I killed half of your comrades. Oh shit, they're fucking here through sling ring portals.
Dude. Oh, but then we'll get to that scene in a sec. But then, of course, Thanos also gets to see footage of his own head getting chopped off, and he took it rather well.
Yeah. Off with my head. Fuck. Oh, no, I'm okay.
Did everyone in your theater just like gasp when that shit happened?
No, I got a couple of drunken woos, and I'm like, fuck.
Well, what I like what they did about that is when he chops off Thanos' head, they fade to black for like an uncomfortably long amount of time, and then like some people were like, "Is it over?"
I got one guy that had a picture of fucking Too Hard to Nail behind me. By the end of the movie, I wanted to go reach around and dump the rest of his picture on his head because he was so drunk.
So here's the real question of the video, David. How do you feel about the Hulk dabbing? Yeah! God bless. The Hulk has dabbed. We've done it.
It's 2019. Can dabbing fucking die already?
Bro, well, to be fair, it's fucking Bruce Banner. Like, I mean, you can tell he's just trying to be cool. That was the kind of the joke. He's just
I know.
Dab, right? Dab?
Dab?
That's just so funny.
I'm just like,
I couldn't.
That was the one moment that made me cringe.
Oh, come on. Listen, it would be cringy if they actually thought that was cool, but it was Bruce attempting to relate to the kids.
Oh, yeah. I'm just glad he didn't floss.
Well, they were playing Fortnite. What about Thor playing Fortnite? Bro, wait. Let me backtrack. Wait, what about Thor? What about Thor shit-talking an 11-year-old on a Fortnite game?
That was fucking funny.
I will fucking get my axe and fly over to your house and shove your head up your butt. Because I am fucking Thor, God of Lightning.
I'm just like, every time Chris Hemsworth was on screen in this movie, it was gold. It was gold. Yes. I am so glad they gave him more of this comedic effect.
I think they pulled the fucking Thor Ragnarok and just let him improv everything again.
I'm just like, I'm glad they kept with that. I'm super glad they let him keep with that because he is fucking hilarious.
Oh man.
Like, I honestly was never really a big Men in Black fan, but the minute I saw he was going to be a Men in Black, I'm like, I want it. But
okay.
The one other thing I really, really, really want to touch on here.
All right.
Oh, how do you feel about the fact that we have a past Gamora now?
They have to kind of. What I will say is I hope that's. I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, they have to touch on that, you know?
Let's be realistic here, though. It was perfect that Star-Lord got kneed in the dick.
Oh, yeah. He's like, oh, you didn't hit him the first time, but you hit him the second time.
You got both the second time. And he's just on the ground cringing. I'm like, yes.
She's like, really? That was your choice? And she was like, well, it was between that and a literal tree. So.
What about Drax? God damn it!
Drax is one hell of a man. Well, no, remember, Drax's whole thing is avenging his dead wife.
I know.
I feel like Drax is one of those like, I'll never fuck again. No pussy will compare.
But I mean, they put a fucking tree above Drax.
That's true. I do love Drax. I'm glad Drax got that one scene in the movie where he jumped on one of those aliens' backs.
He just
shanked it in the back. Like, I saw that fucking shit in the background, just like jump on the back, shake, 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 shake. Like, yes, Drax, you do what you do best.
You did one thing in the movie and it was gold.
Oh, well, okay. Let's. What I was gonna bring up something else. So how do you feel about how this time travel was implemented? Did you like it?
I wasn't too surprised that they went the time travel route with.
Well, the second they killed Thanos, I was like, oh, I guess time travel.
I knew immediately we'd have time travel or some sort of way to manipulate space or some shit. But what I was actually shocked by here is, one, we have to talk about the fact that Tony Stark's death was foreshadowed throughout this entire fucking movie.
Oh, yeah. Like,
from the fucking first trailer to everywhere he's like, I'm tired, I don't want to do this, and he's kind of...
The worst part is that he's happy and has a daughter now, and I'm like, God damn it, man. Like,
he got his perfect life,
and like, the fact that he's like, I don't... You know, he didn't want to do it, you know, but his obsession with science and his love for, and his constant guilt for Peter Parker, because I think he feels like he got Peter killed You know, I think he's always felt that way. Because you can kind of go back to the original Spider-Man movie, which kind of built this whole thing up where Tony is talking to Spider-Man, or Peter, and he's like, if you got killed, I feel like that'd be on me. And I don't know if my heart could take that, you know?
And the second he saw the picture, and he just was like, God damn it, now I gotta do it.
Yeah,
like,
I love the part, too, where he's just, like, casually talking to his wife, like, I think I figured out time travel. I think I just invented time travel, guys.
I just casually fucking saw the fucking... I don't even know how long... ever since Back to the Future, I saw what the world's been fascinated with, and
I mean, that's one of those, like, huge questions of life and space and yada yada. Also, canonical proof that Tony Stark is smarter than Bruce Banner, because Bruce couldn't figure it out. Which I like, because, you know, they're all good scientists, but, like, Tony's clearly smarter, you know? Like,
Tony's clearly smarter in that realm. I think Bruce is smarter in the
Bruce's
physical.
Specialty again? Like, biology?
Well, biological shit. And I think Tony's more in the theoretical bullshit.
That brings me to my next question, though. I'm very curious on how you felt about Bruce being in, like, half and half Bruce, half and half Hulk mode the entire movie. That was interesting, and I did not expect that at all.
I was okay with it.
I had no problem with it. It was a strange choice. Like, I did not expect that. Like, I guess, do you have any comments on that?
Dave literally... Here's what I love about this movie, above everything else. This united both sides of my universe. Because we had nods to comics, we had nods to the entire MCU over the past 10 years, and all the while, they're tying both of those fucking universes together almost perfectly. So, we had this Professor Hulk for a short while in the comics, back when I was a fucking kid.
That's great.
It didn't last very long, because it wasn't very well received at that time. Because it was so off-putting. And it was kind of off-putting here.
It's hella off-putting.
I'm like, well, this is still as uncomfortable as it always was, but it was so well done here because the Russo brothers just know how to do shit. They study what worked well, it feels like, in comics and the movies, and they've tied it together so fucking well. I'm sad that this seems like their last movie. They've kind of signed themselves out of the MCU after this. I'm like, this was a perfect send-off for them, though.
Yeah.
But I really don't want to see them go.
I wouldn't be surprised if they came back one day. I mean,
they'll come back eventually when the paycheck's big enough.
when they gamble all their money away. I don't know what rich people do with their money.
Oh yeah.
When they buy all the fucking jets and yachts and
blackjack and hookers.
Yeah. So let me think. Other things. Okay. How'd you feel about Tony's death?
That was my profile picture on Facebook.
Well, that's a dick move. You don't think? I need to see what it looks like so see if it's spoilery or not.
No, it's not spoilery. It's just me with my fucking hand over my face, like, God damn it.
Oh, sad boy.
That's sad boy me.
Oh, now did you cry?
I did cry. This is the first fucking movie since Logan that's actually booming.
I feel numb. Like, I got very close to crying, but I didn't actually cry, and I was mad that I didn't cry. I wanted to. And the line that, because you know that, like, feeling right before you cry, like you can just feel it welling up.
His speech is what moved me to tears.
Oh, the like recording afterwards.
Yep.
To me, it was Pepper saying, "We're gonna be fine. You can rest now." Which
is kind of a nod to the restless Tony in Iron Man 3.
That's kind of the idea, right? Like, that's why that particular line got me, which is because he's been obsessed ever since the New York attack in 2012. And even semi before that, like, you know, ever since he realized what his weapons had been doing, he has been obsessed with protecting that of which he loves, protecting the world now, and I feel like he's had that, like, stress and PTSD because he feels like all of that rides on his shoulders. To the point where in Civil War, he was willing to completely just be the government's dog. You know what I mean? Because he didn't want to fuck that up. So, like, that's a responsibility that's been on his shoulders for so long. And now that he has a family, that was, like, the one thing. Like, I can't lose this. I can't do this. And so the fact that she's like, you know, he stayed conscious until she was like, "We will be fine. Your work is done. you can rest.
Yeah,
you're done protecting us, and then he passes. And what's even sadder is he didn't even have enough consciousness. Like that shit fucked him up. He was literally just in like a comatose state as he like he was like I feel like he was brain dead. Like by the time he snapped, he was just gone. You know what I mean? Like,
it was
he was just like
it was just motion.
Well, yeah, it was basically like you ever see like I'm trying to think of a good example like this is gonna be a weird ass example, but have you ever seen like a bird fly straight into a window?
Yeah.
What happens when birds do that is they don't die immediately. What they'll do is they'll just like land and then stand completely motionless until they just fall over and die. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I've seen them like fly into the window. I've never watched them fucking die.
At our old house, we had a window that was very reflective, and birds would fly in it all the time. It would be sad. And every time, without fail, basically, I read up on why this happens. It's basically it just concusses their brain so much that they just stand there and die of internal bleeding from their brain.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So basically, they just stand there, frozen, motionless. I literally walked right up to one to see if it would move away. It doesn't. And then just like you come there tomorrow, and then it's just fallen over. So like that's kind of how Tony died. Because it shocked me that he had no reaction, nothing to say to Peter at all. And then I realized, it's because he's like fucking already dead. Basically, he's just barely holding on to that last bit of consciousness. And I always respect any death scene that doesn't do the whole like, I have just enough time to give my emotional farewell. That was a realistic ass death, and that was a sad ass death.
Oh yeah.
And of course there's that role reversal with Peter being the one that's like, no, Mr. Stark, no, we did it, Mr. Stark. Yeah.
No, kid, no. No, dude, it was super fucking tear jerky, and fucking the arc reactor they used on the little memorial raft that they kind of fucking put out there. That was the gift he gave to fucking Pepper.
I remember proof that. Yep, I remember that from an earlier movie.
I'm like, God damn it. See, I'm a sucker for Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
He was phenomenal.
I always have been from the very first fucking Iron Man movie. And the weird part about this entire MCU journey for me is I've been going to see pretty much every MCU movie, or almost every MCU movie, with my dad since they fucking first started it.
That's what makes this so much more emotional, because it's like this would not be nearly as emotional if we just fucking marathoned it all in the last like 2 weeks. This is emotional.
There's plenty of people that.
Good. What?
There's plenty of people that have done that over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, it's more emotional for us because we literally grew up with these characters. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. I'm not begrudging any of the people that are just like, what's all the hype about? What's all the hype about?
No. I'm just saying that it's very similar. Like, Super Eye Patch Wolf just did a great video on the WWE and the legacy of The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah.
And I recommend you watch that. And he basically made the same point where it's like, listen, when the Undertaker's streak was broken, it was a huge deal for a lot of people because they grew up with him. That streak was always there, and that wouldn't be the same for someone that just binged all of his matches now. It wouldn't have the same emotional weight.
Oh yeah, see, you have, and this is the same way it was when Dragon Ball Z ended for me. The same way it was when fucking Naruto ended, even though it was a filler mess. Same way when Bleach was ending.
Oh yeah, I cried when Bleach ended.
Even though for me it wasn't the fact that it ended, it was the fact that it ended the way it did. But that's a whole other fucking video we can do if we want.
Usually for me, when I cry because things end, it's because it's a reminder that time's passing. It's a reminder that I'm getting older. It's a reminder that my childhood is gone. You know what I mean? That's usually what it is for me. So like for Bleach, for example, I cried when Bleach ended because it wasn't when I read the final page that I cried. It was later that night when I listened to the first anime opening.
You were telling me about
that. Yeah, but I haven't told the audience that.
Yeah. And it's that fucking opening still is just like, holy shit.
Because it reminded me of just how I felt when I first was watching that. So like moments like these reminded me of where I was in my life when the original Iron Man came out, and I had no fucking idea it was gonna lead to this. No,
I remember where I was because I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! At a shop that no longer exists called Bambino's. in Greenville, Michigan, and that building is now, the last I checked, it was an Old West shop.
Oh, fun.
But there was a couple people from the local NGC cinema there that were giving out like buttons and stickers. I put the big bumper sticker on my fucking Yu-Gi-Oh folder. I wore the button into the theater with my dad, and we went to go see it. And I went and saw every Iron Man movie with him, the original Avengers, and like a fuck ton of the other movies scattered throughout the 22 that have been out so far. And, it was just, fate that today, I guess, that we went and saw Endgame together. And I'm like, we've been to almost every one of these fucking movies since I was 18, basically.
Yeah, and for me, Iron Man came out when I was still in middle school. I was the last year of middle school for me that Iron Man came out.
It's just fucking weird how you don't think about that. Like today, well, technically yesterday now, it fucking was the 30th anniversary of Dragon Ball Z. I'm like, it's fucked up. This is older than me, but I still remember watching it, fucking watching it and Sailor Moon and all that shit, and just remembering, that, like you said, it's just more attachment when you grow up or you grow old with these fucking franchises.
Very true.
Go
ahead.
And, the actual fucking irony of this is at that same time I was reading comics that were touched on in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
So, like, fucking, the funny part when I'm looking at the ending here, when we see old man fucking Cap and...
Yeah, I was curious. I was going to ask about the Captain America stuff as well.
Canonically, it should have been Bucky that got the shield first, and then Sam, but I'm not going to judge, because they both end up getting the shield. But Falcon getting the fucking shield, I'm like, okay, I know why they're doing this, because they're doing the whole, like, Disney Plus series of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I was gonna say, because now I kind of want a solo movie or something from them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing that. They're doing the WandaVision for Scarlet Witch, and they're doing Vision there, which makes sense because in Infinity War, Shuri basically had rebuilt Vision beforehand, so now we'll probably get a rebuilt version of Vision in that series. Oddly enough, we have a time-displaced Loki now. And there's a Loki series going on.
I didn't even think about that. He did. He fucking bailed.
He poofed away Nightcrawler style with the fucking Tesseract.
Bro, I still can't get over the fact that Loki's fucking face, he was like, huh.
Huh. Fate is smiling upon me, brother.
Imagine what he had just gone through, like, with the Avengers, and then, Tony randomly passing out and shit. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, that was another little death flag there when Ant-Man kind of fucking ripped the core out of his heart.
Yeah, and then future Tony, as a security guard, is like, hey, someone help him, please.
The odd thing would have been, what would have happened if that Tony died? Would we have seen our Tony poof out of existence there?
Well, that's what I was... unfortunately, we didn't get to... There was one moment where we may have gotten that answer, but we didn't, because it was a fucking cyborg, so it didn't kill her. But there was Nebula...
right.
One of the versions got fucking like a hole blasted through them, and I was waiting to see if the other one was gonna, like, Back to the Future style start to disappear, but they didn't.
Yeah, I'm like, God. But we also now we have foreshadowing for like the Asgardians of the Galaxy and other comic series.
Oh, bruh,
with
I need
Thor.
Listen to me, James motherfucking Gunn. Just imagine James Gunn writing Thor. I need that.
Imagine James Gunn watching our 2.2K fucking YouTube channel.
You never know. I mean, clearly he's into some weird shit.
Fair point.
That's going to be the next smear. James Gunn fired because he admits to watching this YouTube channel that makes some awful jokes. James Gunn re-fired because he subscribed to Controlled Chaos.
James Gunn fired because they found more of his trauma.
James Gunn fired and then subsequently hired by Controlled Chaos.
I pay that motherfucker.
You're on, James Gunn. Oh, that'd be cool, bro.
Dude, I would like to meet him and pick his mind.
I want to, yeah, dude. I want to be like, bro. I respect you.
You've done some fucked up PR for Trauma. You've done some fucked up tweets. You've done some fucked up,
I respect
movies.
That don't give a fuck. I really do.
I respect people that care about their art.
Yes, but I also respect people that don't give a fuck about like censorship and what other people think of them. You know?
Oh yeah,
Like
definitely.
the iDubbbz of the world.
Dude, I honestly, did you catch the nod to the original Guardians of the Galaxy where it's just Star-Lord singing like a moron?
Well, I mean, that was everywhere. That was where there was nods to the original Captain America. There was nods to Avengers.
But without the actual backing soundtrack.
Oh yeah, no, that's hilarious.
So
It's that scene from an outside viewer's perspective. That's fucking funny.
It was so fucking beautiful.
Well, and you know what? I'm glad that you brought that scene up because that made me want to go back and rewatch that. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my god.
First of all, I had no idea. Like, in retrospect, now that I know about the importance of the Infinity Stones, I want to go back and rewatch all these movies and look for the Infinity Stones. You know what I mean? Because I did not realize that he was. I did not realize that he was trying to steal an Infinity Stone. I totally forgot about that.
See, before Endgame, I re-binged every fucking Marvel movie because it had been so long since I watched.
I didn't have the fucking time for that. You had the luxury of being fired.
I had the luxury of being fired, motherfucker.
Yeah, the luxury of being fired, so you could have time to binge every Marvel movie.
Honestly, it didn't take that long. It was like 5-6 days worth of watching movies.
Yeah, but like
I sat around and watched movies and fucking just relaxed.
That sounds real nice.
Yeah, it was nice because I hadn't enjoyed doing shit while I was employed. Really, I just existed.
Oh yeah, don't fucking remind me. But yeah, no. Another thing I want to talk about. As a big Doctor Strange fan, because that honestly, Doctor Strange it really contends for one of my favorite Marvel movies. Seeing the Ancient One back made me so fucking happy. I love the Ancient One.
Dude, I honestly, that scene where she's talking to Bruce, I'm like, motherfucker.
Oh, so good. Because listen, bro, the Ancient One's such a goddamn badass, okay? Like, 1v1's the Hulk. I don't even care.
Well, I mean, to be fair, she 1v1'd a weaker, brainier version of the Hulk, but okay.
Okay, but like let's just step through how fucking awesome the Ancient One is. First of all, you remember how awesome the Ancient One was from the original Doctor Strange? Like, my God.
Oh my God.
OP as fuck and just godly. And literally one of my favorite. I quote this to this day.
That was one of the. So that was one of the movies that I'd only watched once.
Yeah,
I'd only watched that one. I'd only watched that one once. I'd only watched Homecoming once, and that's as a big Spider-Man fan. But I just honestly, Vulture was a great villain for that, but I just didn't really mesh that well with him. I rewatched. I didn't mesh well with the fucking original Captain America until I rewatched. I'm like, now I can respect this a little more, but it's still one of the weaker Marvel movies. But Doctor Strange, I forgot how fucking good that movie was.
I love it, bro. Like, I just want to just relive one of my favorite moments with the Ancient One. The time I knew I was going to love her. Because she just verbally fucking destroys Doctor Strange. Where my favorite part was where, you know, he's just like rejecting their entire existence. And he's just, and she's
well,
just
he was an arrogant fucking prick.
Of course, yeah, but like
I can't say much there either.
Yeah, but what she says is, you're a man looking at the world through a keyhole. And you've spent your entire life trying to widen that keyhole, to learn more, to know more. And now, upon the possibility of that keyhole being widened, you'd reject the possibility. Like, I love that line. Basically just saying, like, bro, you're someone who seeks out intelligence and seeks out how the world works. And we've just told you, hey, look at this creepy, crazy shit we can do. And he's like, fuck you. I love that fucking line. But to bring it back to this movie, I love that she's aware of time travel. Because of course she is. She's the fucking Ancient One. You know what I mean?
Well, at this point, she was still technically Sorcerer Supreme, too.
Well, yeah, so of course. And keep in mind, she owns, not only that she is the possessor of the Time Stone, we also found out in the original Doctor Strange that she's been alive for centuries.
Yeah, like, it's so...
Because, like,
see,
again, like, squeed. When he's like, I'm looking for Doctor Strange, she's like, you're about 5 years too early. Doctor Strange is currently performing surgery about 5 miles that way. I'm like, oh, that's so... Like, she knows he's gonna come, which means... Because that almost adds a whole new fucking cool-ass layer to Doctor Strange, where now we can watch that, and, like, she knew that was gonna happen. Like, oh yeah, Doctor Strange is eventually gonna come here. I'm gonna fucking pretend like I'm not gonna take him in, but we all know he's eventually gonna come in. I love that.
And we also know that I'm going to fucking die.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's practically what's the word I'm looking for here? Like we're like people describe God like this. Fuck, like where you exist outside of time and space. Like you're multi-present. You're present everywhere.
Yeah,
you know
omnipresent.
Yeah, something like that. Like, so
But,
I mean, she's literally like.
She's
She knows her entire line, right? Which is, and that's what I love too about, like, if you go back to Doctor Strange, when she's dying, she literally, like, goes into her astral form and then slows down her perception of time to the absolute slowest. Because you remember there's that scene where they're watching lightning strike and it's just taking this long ass time, and she's like, what a coward I am. I'm paraphrasing here, but basically, like, I think she said something on the lines of, like, you know, I've known I was gonna die right now for a long time, but I'm still such a coward. I'm slowing it down as much as possible because I'm afraid of death. You know, I love that shit.
Mm-hmm. So it also adds this little bit of a layer that brings in one fucking thing that I never realized about the Doctor Strange universe, even as a comic fan. But once I watched that movie, that YouTube video, I should say, that I sent you to link in our fucking description or our comments, it made so much sense that they, even in comics, when you fucking time travel, like, it splits off into these alternate realities, which kind of explains why the comic universe, as much as they fucked with the realities throughout the fucking history of the Marvel Comics universe, we have so many different ones, like 616, we have 636, we have all these fucking universes that are just fucking all over the place that we constantly see mesh and fucking destroy each other
and yeah, no, I mean, and that makes sense too, because like going into time travel, that's basically what would have to happen if time travel could exist.
Exactly,
because otherwise you could run into paradoxes. So like, I love the idea of like
when the Ancient One explains it to fucking Bruce and just fucking takes the one stone, pulls it out, and then that becomes another line in the fucking art wibbly wobbly timey wimey shit here.
And then their plan becomes to return it to the exact moment that they took it out. And what I loved about that too is the Ancient One was very like, no, fuck you, this is our stone. But the second he's like, Doctor Strange gave it to fucking Thanos, and then she's like, whoa, well, that changes things.
And just fucking gives Professor Hulk the time stone willingly, like, I hope I'm right kind of moment here.
And that goes back to Doctor Strange and all of his infinite wisdom. One of my favorite moments in this entire movie here is, and this is the moment where I was like, I saw this and I was like, here it comes. Here comes Tony's death. It's coming now. And it was the moment where Doctor Strange looks to Tony and he holds up the one with his finger, right? One. As in, here it is. This is the one possibility out of the 14 million. You know? And the second he did that, I was like, fuck. Like, I was like, no.
No, here we go.
So, what did you think about, we talked about his death, but I forgot to mention, like, you know, Tony using his own gauntlet to snap away Thanos and his army.
Okay, so there's three things I want to touch on here. So, before this, we saw Tony kind of become old Tony throughout this entire movie. The arrogant fucking prick that doesn't give a fuck about anybody but himself. But in this case, himself and his family. We kind of touched on that.
I don't know if I see it that way, because to me it was less of that and more of, listen, I finally have something I can. I think that was a healing moment for him, because I think one of the things
it was a little bit of both, really. You see him kind of regress into this, like, I don't want to do anything. He's fighting with Cap. You should have been there, kind of, you know, maybe we could have, in his mind, thinking maybe we could have saved everybody there and prevented this entire fucking thing from happening. And we see
I also like just as a side note, I also like the Tony's argument on, like, hey, remember how someone wanted to build an Earth Defense Force? You know, so that, and then Captain America was like, hey, remember how that ended up?
Yeah, kind of throwing back to Age of Ultron there. Like, that's what this movie was. It was a love letter to all 22 100%. Fucking movies. But we see him kind of devolve into his old self and, like, be argumentative, be a complete fucking prick. And then we see why. He's like, he's still feeling guilty about Peter dying. He's still feeling guilty about not being able to prevent Thanos, because to him, he always had all the fucking answers. Kind of like Thor turning into the drunken wastrel he is in the movie, with the beer gut out to fucking here and just not giving a shit. Like, they were not used to fucking failure, either one of them, really. So We see that, and then we see them come back to terms here near the end, and we get the little bro moment. We get all this fucking shit building up to him building this gauntlet that we saw in the fucking scene with Hulk, and then Hulk getting burned out of fuck, akin to like Thanos' condition.
Yeah, well, think about
near
that
the
too.
end.
Like he may not have the, because he's like brainy and shit. He may not have like the force of Hulk, but he still has the durability of Hulk. And that snap put Hulk in a fucking arm brace, so it makes sense that it just annihilated Tony Stark's body.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even through the armor, through everything, it looked like he came home from war, really.
Oh, it was so sad. His fucking face was so sad. He was just dead everywhere.
Yeah. And near the end here, when we see the reversal from that fucking Infinity War scene, looking at his shambling corpse essentially there, fucking the fact that we have all of this leading up to the departure of multiple actors, really.
Oh, yeah.
So we knew kind of who was going to die.
Oh yeah. Well, I knew for a fact. I mean, I came into this knowing that Cap and Tony were the two actors that have been very vocal about we're fucking leaving after this. So yeah.
Yeah, we're fucking leaving after this, and now people like my mom can have a third fucking Sherlock Holmes movie.
Yeah. Oh right, I forgot I forgot Iron. Fuck my ass. I forgot Robert Downey Jr. did those. Yeah, he was good. You know what I want? More BBC Sherlock. So Doctor Strange, die. Just kidding. I like him. Are we having?
No,
is there going to be a
Doctor
Doctor
Strange
Strange sequel? Because I want that.
There's supposed to be a Black Panther sequel, a Captain Marvel sequel. There's been all sorts of rumors floating around about what's
Speaking of
next.
Captain Marvel, I would like to bring up the second problem with this movie, and it's not really a problem with this movie, but more of that Captain Marvel still sucks.
Okay. Fucking SJWs come at me. They are not portraying her right.
She's just boring. I don't know if it's
They're
an
not
actress
portraying
problem. I don't know
her
if it's a character
properly.
problem, but she's boring.
Like, she is a very fucking interesting character in the comics. It's just how they're choosing to portray her. They're trying to portray her as, and I hate that I'm saying this, but they're portraying her as a fucking diversity character. We need a powerful woman, so we're going to use Captain Marvel, which is one of the most powerful.
The problem, you should write her just as complex or deep as any of the other characters. I don't know if I don't know if that's the reason, David, but maybe I could see it for sure. But like my issue is that my issue is that all she does, her only mood is I'm a cocky, snarky asshole. Like that's all of the, you know what I mean? Like Tony wouldn't. But here's the thing. Tony isn't just a cocky, snarky asshole. All she does, like even when she comes out to get the fucking Infinity Gauntlet, you got something for me, kid? It's just nothing but like. I'm fucking powerful, and I don't know what it is, but she's just like very boring to me.
The reason I say what I said is they've even said like we're trying to be more inclusive. We're trying to put gay characters. We're trying to put women characters. We're trying to put Asian characters.
And I think they've done fine with that up till now.
But they've written themselves into a corner really by doing it solely as we need to be diverse. We need to be diverse with personality of more than cardboard. I honestly, Captain Marvel as a movie wasn't bad. They were able to do like, okay, it's an origin story. Every origin story is kind of weak in the MCU. Fucking Thor was two sets really. You had Asgard and we had a box canyon.
Yeah, honestly.
And fucking Iron Man, we had Stark Industries. We had little bits of New York, and we had a cave in Afghanistan. Hulk was what, 3 cities really?
I don't know, man. Again, I don't see it as a diversity problem because I think they've done fine with that up till now. Like, think about all the other characters that they have that are women or that are of color, or whatever random diversity, yada yada you want to go down. They've all been fine. I gotta be honest with you, David. I think it's an actress problem. I don't know if you've looked into this actress. The actress herself comes off as a snood, like cocky bitch.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
her entire demeanor since she's been cast has been like, fuck white men.
Oh yeah, I mean, she literally was like mad that white people review movies on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, she did a whole speech on that.
I'm like, okay, a lot of that might have been taken out of context the more I've read into it. Cool,
Okay, I'll
but
take
still.
it. I'll put it in its correct context. She was literally like, if you look at these movies, the only 5% of these reviewers are women of color, and there should be. It's like,
There should be, I agree that there should be plenty of different diversities reviewing movies that are
I
out
double
there.
agree, but here's the response to that. That is first world feminism, first world SJW to its key. And what I mean by that is
Exactly.
What I mean by that is when there are people starving in Yemen, when there are literal wars happening, when pick a random fucking country 76 where women are legally getting like literally, I think it's legal to rape women in Saudi Arabia. I'll have to look into that. I know they can't drive until like 2 weeks ago. There's a bunch of fucked up shit going around, right? If your main concern is not enough women are reviewing movies on Rotten Tomatoes and you're doing speeches on that, relax. You are at that point virtue signaling. You're like, look at how fucking great I am.
Okay, so yeah.
PewDiePie did a great video. If you want to know, go to PewDiePie. He did a Pew News where he talked about this, and I think he made a great point because there was a clip. This is where I knew I didn't like her. They did a clip where someone asked her a question like, "What's it like being a woman in cinema?" And then she was like, "It's hard. It's really hard." And it's especially hard for women of color. And then PewDiePie was like, wow, that really sounds like, can you imagine saying it's so hard as, the face of one of the biggest movie corporations in the world and like probably a multimillionaire at this point. It's so hard. Like, this is such weird,
Yeah, so I don't really have an issue with the actress herself, aside from her being, that.
Well, you know what's interesting? I was willing to give it the benefit of the doubt because I was thinking maybe it was bad directing. Because that you never know if it's the actor or the director, right? So I think Nostalgia Critic made a good point. He was like, "We'll see how she is in Infinity War because maybe the director of Captain Marvel is bad, but I found her just as stale in this one." To me, there are only two options left. It is either that they have literally wrote this character to be a one-dimensional character and they want it to be that, or she's a bad actress. I don't know which one it is.
I've seen her in other shit. She's not as bad as she's been here, so I think it's how they've written the character, and that's why I'm like,
that makes sense.
I'm like they've written her solely for diversity's sake at this point because they made it such a big point that they've wanted
Captain
all
Marvel,
these different things.
She's a woman in the comics, correct?
She is a woman in the comics, and she's fucking a fantastic character in the fucking comics. That's why I'm like, this is poorly fucking written. They've written Captain Marvel as a shitty fucking character.
And she had a surprisingly low influence in the movie. I really expect her to be in more of it. Like, and that's kind of unfortunate because she seems to be kind of the new Deus Ex Machina. She just showed up when they needed her every time, you know?
She's like, yeah, I'm here to fuck shit up.
I'm here to get Tony out of space. I'm here to fucking Saitama the fucking ship. By the way, you've seen One Punch Man, right? Did her destroying Thanos' ship give you Saitama Boros vibes?
Yes, it did. I'm like, God damn it. So, she is literally this powerful, if not more powerful in the comics. So I had no problem with her being the living Deus Ex Machina.
No, that's fine. I just don't like the idea of her existing in the world and they can just call her anytime shit gets too hard.
Well, remember, in Captain Marvel, they're like, only in emergencies.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man from Family Guy, you only get one.
Yeah, so that makes an interesting point here. So, New York wasn't an emergency? Ultron wasn't an emergency?
No, I mean, apparently not, because they were able to handle it without her. I mean, I think this goes to, like, Squad Zero from Bleach rules, where it's like, yeah, I mean, you guys handled it. You didn't need us. Yeah,
I'm just like, none of this?
I mean, she makes a fair point. The universe is fucking big. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
She could be literally some, like 20 million light years away dealing with, like, fucking mecha, like, she could be dealing with fucking, like, Planet 3006's version of Hitler. You know, we don't know what she's doing.
Captain Marvel punches Hitler.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, space Hitler, bro. Alien Hitler.
Yeah. First Captain America did it, now Captain Marvel did it.
Yeah, okay, one other thing we gotta talk about. The Captain America Hail Hydra thing was hilarious to me.
I'm like, they fucking did it.
They did it, yeah, because I remember that was a big meme or something. I don't read the comic. I'm not very close to the comics. But I remember that was a big. Hold on. I remember that was a big. I remember that was a big thing So I cannot stand Skype calls. We just keep talking over each other. It's pissing me off. There's like that slight delay with a fucking Skype call. I can't stand it. But it's better than Discord cutting out every 5 seconds. Huh?
That is true.
But anyway, yeah. So I just remember that there was some fucking thing that happened where he said "Hail Hydra." So I respected that as a reference. Now over to you as the comic book fan that understands it.
So he was like a Hydra sleeper agent that kind of wasn't working for them. It was this whole big way of trying to end another fucking event, basically. So every year we have like 3 or 4 of these big fucking crossover events between all the different Marvel or DC comics that just fucking are world ending, or we need to boost sales essentially because comics are slowly dying. But they're not slowly dying. They're just shifting into more entertainment like this. But yeah. So we had that meme, that Hail Hydra meme, and it just like turned into a whole shitpost. And
it was cool to see the actual like live action version say it for sure.
It was definitely interesting to see that. And then
how did you feel about the Captain America versus Captain America fight?
I can do this all day. I know.
Oh no, wait! I forgot the other thing, dude. I love how long this movie. We are approaching an hour, and I don't mind. So okay. There is some disrespect. I've seen some disrespect on Ant-Man lately, but I'm sorry, Ant-Man is MVP. Like, just in general, can we agree that he is the MVP?
Okay, so before
that's America's ass, David.
That's America's ass. Yeah, that's America's ass,
Captain America, and I think to myself, that's America's ass.
Can we appreciate that Cap went from bitching at Tony about cussing to being like, yeah, that is America's ass.
That is America's ass. I mean, he's changed completely. I mean, you can see what this whole fucking thing has done to him for sure.
Yeah, so we went from, I respect the fact that we got all of the Hydra agents that were technically dead back here.
That's awesome, yeah.
Like, we had Alexander Pierce, we had Rumlow, who becomes Crossbones. We had that fucking Jasper, whatever his fucking name is, that was a piece of shit scientist, really. Like, we had all of these fucking people. The fucking nod to the AI that was essentially in Civil War in the fucking bunker. All of that playing out here. I'm like, this fucking... The fact that we got all these actors back, for one. We didn't replace anybody.
Yeah, no, the fact that we got... also, I loved the fact that Tom Hiddleston came back for that, like, practically 2-minute scene that involved him just standing there with a muzzle on.
Yeah, like...
That's so funny.
Well, we know what fucking Tom Hiddleston's into.
But what else? Yeah, continue what you're saying, though.
So we had all of that. We had Rene Russo coming back as Thor's mom here. And having more lines than she's ever had in any other fucking movie.
Let's retroactively make her important real quick.
We need to have this touching moment with Thor and his mom while Thor's completely out of shape.
I like that Thor's mom was like, yeah, you're not my Thor. Like, there's some weird shit going on here.
I was raised by witches.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no, I know about... yeah. Oh, my God. You know what that reminded me? See, I just keep thinking of better fucking lines. I love that, like, you basically have, like... there was a line that, like, reminded me of how far we've come from, like, you know, back in the day when it was just... You know, a billionaire building a fucking suit. Like, and so the line where Rocket Raccoon is taking them to space, he looks back and he's like, okay, who's not been to space? And then they raise their hands, and then he's just like, all right.
None of
what
you
he said after that, but I just love the who hasn't been to space.
None of you puke in my ship, was what he said.
Who hasn't been to space? I just love that, like, it's just so interesting to see, like, Hawkeye. Oh, and by the way, I love that the movie opened on Hawkeye just on vacation with his family and then died. The second that shit opened, I was like, oh no. Oh no, I know where this is going.
I love that they made Ronan faithful.
Yeah, I only wish we saw more of him. Like, it was so quick. We saw so little of him.
You realize for a second that they've never once said Hawkeye except for in the original fucking Avengers movie. Where's the Hawk? He's up in his nest. Was the only nod to Hawkeye aside from that fucking scene.
Oh, interesting.
I am a Hawkeye fucking fanboy.
That's awesome.
Fight
No,
me.
Hawkeye was cool as fuck. Yeah, I like him a lot. And now I guess we can lead this into the other death that felt almost like they basically took a dart and threw it at a dartboard of the movie poster to see who would die.
Well, it makes sense for two reasons.
I know it makes sense, but am I the only one that really is like on Black Widow?
Well, here's why it makes sense. Because think about the connection between Clint and Natasha here. They basically... Natasha is alive because Hawkeye said, no, I'm not going to fucking kill you. So her taking the sacrifice there makes sense for her character. She's done with everything, basically. Also, the only other thing that's really on the plate for her now is the Black Widow standalone movie that's supposedly in Phase 4.
Prequel, yeah.
Yeah, so we have a young actress playing that, so Scarlett Johansson's like, fuck it. But we have that. We also have the fact that we need Hawkeye to have his family. Black Widow has nobody. Her family has been the Avengers since Clint saved her. Mm-hmm. So we don't have anything there. Hawkeye also has the new Disney Plus. I hate that we've essentially have cable 2 now. Let's be realistic.
Yeah,
here.
I'm glad you brought that up. Right? There's a YouTube channel. There's a YouTuber named, I believe it's Uniqueosaurus. Have you ever watched their videos?
No, I have not.
So they did a video on basically the fact that streaming platforms are going to crash and burn because basically pirating is on the rise, and it's because they're ruining streaming platforms by basically, like you said, turning it into cable TV. Now, whatever your rebuttal is to this, make it 30 seconds or less so we don't get too off topic. All right,
no, I love the fact that I have to pay for Netflix, Hulu, Crunchyroll, Verve, WWE Network, now Disney Plus.
I refuse. My response to that is, typically, any show you want, you can buy it on Amazon Prime, right? Like, you can just buy it digitally like that, for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
So my thing is...
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
My thing is,
Amazon Prime.
So my thing is, fuck this whole streaming service bullshit. I will find... I'll pick the show I want to watch. I will buy just that show, so I'm not paying monthly for a million different services.
But
or I'll bum off a friend that has it. In fact, I implore every single friend group to basically get a group of 5 friends, okay? And each friend get a different streaming service, and then all of you just bum off of each other. That is how you beat the system.
So here's why Hawkeye's staying alive.
You like
makes
that
sense.
system? I think that's a fucking smart ass system.
It's a fantastic system.
Like,
it's essentially what we've done.
So Thurman, me, you, and then throw like Kate and Jessa in there. Okay, so Jessa gets Hulu, I get Netflix, you get Crunchyroll.
I don't know who all.
I'm just saying,
Dude,
that's a good idea.
Honestly, Dude, this is what I love about this channel. Like, that's what we've done. But what I keep trying to say is the reason Hawkeye is staying alive is we have that Hawkeye series where they're training Kate Bishop, who in one of my favorite fucking runs essentially becomes Hawkeye because Hawkeye's going deaf.
Oh.
So now we have this fucking new Hawkeye being trained in this new series. So I honestly love that we've got this here. So that's why I get that you're salty that that's like an emotionalist, like I don't give a fuck about Black Widow, but
it might be my fault for just not really being emotionally attached to Black Widow.
Oh, I'm not really either, but I mean, in the general MCU, when all their grander plans here, it makes sense for her to be the one to kick the bucket in that scene.
So
because we have to have the reunion with the kids and the wife for Hawkeye, and then the fact that the first thing is him getting a fucking phone call, and then the fucking compound.
That was so good, yo, that scene, bro, where they snap to bring everybody back, and it's just this beautiful scene where it's like, oh my god, I'm getting a phone call, and everything's good, just fuck, jeez.
Okay, so did your theater have a Google Pixel 3 commercial right before the fucking movie?
There was some fucking phone commercial that involved the Avengers, yes, where it was like, there was like a guy driving, and then it was like, there was the aliens were coming down, and it was like road closure because of aliens. He's like, fucking aliens, something like that.
So the phone that Clint answered was a Google Pixel 3.
Oh, that cheeky sponsorship.
So the ironic thing is that every fucking MCU movie has had like this sponsorship with like Dell or fucking Verizon, or lately it's been Google. So they answer the fucking phone call on a Verizon powered fucking Google Pixel 3. I'm like, product placements.
Oh, I love it.
It-
I want to get enough fuck you money to just be like, hey, just slap a Controlled Chaos logo on like the background of Tony Stark's computer. Thanks. Tony Stark's watching Controlled Chaos.
Oh, so I honestly think we've covered just about everything, haven't we?
Let me just skim through the movie in my head. How about Thor? Okay, I gotta be honest. I love the wibbly wobbly Doctor Who-esque bullshit, like basically just hacking the fuck out of time travel. He gets his hammer back through time travel. That is such a good idea.
Oh, okay. One more thing. So him getting the hammer back, and then Cap becoming worthy.
Oh shit! Fuck. Which was foreshadowed in the Ultron, where he kind of like moved it a little bit.
Yep. So my theory is because he no longer is hiding anything from the team. Because remember, back in Ultron, he still knew, but he never knew about Bucky killing Howard Stark. But he never told Tony.
And he was.
Oh!
Here's what I don't get though. How in the fuck is Thor? I never understood how Thor was worthy.
I honestly. See, that's the one
How
thing.
is he still like? He's still worthy after like cussing at 11-year-olds in Fortnite. That's hilarious. Which means the gods approve of cussing at 11-year-olds in Fortnite.
Or the gods approve of just shitting on Fortnite in general.
That's so funny though. Like he's literally like just covered in pizza grease, fucking beer belly, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm still worthy."
I'm still worthy.
That's awesome.
I got my hammer back.
Well, clearly, nothing matters anymore.
So there's two more things I want to fucking touch on. Okay, so the beautiful scene with Tony and Howard in the 70s.
Oh, such a good scene.
So
we had awkward hug that made it all awkward.
I feel like I know him though. I'm like, aww.
That was nice. That was
the beard joke though. I'm like, oof.
Well, I mean, back in those days, like that wasn't in style.
You had to have a refined mustache back then. Yeah. Like a James Bond villain. No, but that was so fucking touching. Him giving parental advice about himself.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was really cute, honestly. And you know, this whole time with the time travel shit, it made me wonder if they like put little like hints in like the previous movies of like the time travel. You know, it depends on how forward they thinking they were. You know.
How many butterflies did they kill on their way to?
Well, like, because like this is the kind of thing where if I was Joe and Anthony Russo, I would have wanted to like kind of tell. It depends on, again, if they were planning on doing this time travel shit from the very beginning, I would have told other filmmakers like, hey, you know, just have a weird random little background detail of like a figure running in the background, or you know what I mean, like shit like that. Like I would love.
How deep into chaos theory are they going to go?
I don't think they are. I mean, I think that they're trying to get around that by saying, by returning the stones to their original location, nothing will be changed. I think is what they're trying to go for.
But remember, Cap fucked with the timeline when he was out too, because he was married.
Yeah, but like, I'll be honest with you, I would love it if they went into, you know, some paradox, you fucked with the time shit. I just highly doubt they're going to, because I think they want it to be wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow. You know. I
know but he got his dance. He got his fucking dance.
By the way, yeah, that's funny. I get that that's a cute, like, that's a big thing for him. But, like, I'm sorry. I've always found, what is that, the waltz that they were doing?
Yeah.
I've always found that dance awkward as fuck, because it's literally just, like, being close and leaning awkwardly back and forth. I'm like, that's so, like, I was like, it just looks so weird, that dance.
Everything about dancing like that is fucking weird. Yeah. Fuck dancing.
Yeah. I mean, that was nice for sure. I'm trying to think any final thoughts, final scenes you want to touch on.
So,
David.
Red, I know you're not a comic guy, but you have to. I'm sure you've seen the classic image floating around of Cap's shield shattered.
I'm not sure, but speaking of it, I can't. I don't think so. But like, what I do like about that is the Thanos, how easily he was able to shatter it, shows how fucking strong he is.
Dude, that is from the original Infinity Gauntlet comics.
Oh,
So,
Also, what the fuck was Thanos' weapon? Because I love it.
I want somebody to build me one of those.
God, he was a badass.
I will. Somebody who's watching this video, give me a price for that fucking weapon, and I honestly want one.
Yeah, so
I want that to be above my fireplace when I have fucking money.
The last thing I want to ask you too is that whole final action scene. Was there any points of that you wanted to mention, or just in general? Because like that, it's just I want to talk about it, but I can't even think of what to say. It was just so good, so well done.
Okay, so 3 things in that. I love how that's been my prevailing fucking theme throughout this video. So we have a replay of the original speech from Black Panther when he's bringing the troops through from the Infinity War.
Oh, what about the Captain America being like, Avengers, assemble?
He finally got to say it.
Yes, it's just like every little thing that the audience wanted to see. They snuck in there.
They teased that at the end of Age of Ultron. Avengers, and you just kind of, standing there awkwardly, But it's so beautiful that we got in this one movie. We've had so many fucking nods to everything the fans have wanted since day one. We've had everything that comic book fans wanted to see adapted, like the Hail Hydra. We see the shattered shield. We've seen the passing of the shield. We've seen fucking Cap finally becoming worthy, which is a comic book moment as well. We see the A-Force assemble, even though it was cringy as hell how they did it. You see fucking Spider-Man fucking using the instant kill.
Yes! Stab.
I got this. I don't got
I don't think it's not stabbing fast enough.
I only have 4 tentacles.
Fucking bro.
Dude.
Also, just another I know this showed up in Iron Man 3. I almost forgot it did until I watched another review of this. But Pepper's Iron Man suit, godly.
Fucking rescue coming to life. Yes.
Her suit's so cool. I was like, oh, that's a good. That looks nice.
So.
Oh, and seeing Wasp back too. Because again, I just want to clarify how much I love Ant-Man. I think he might be one of my favorites. Like the people, motherfuckers sleep on Ant-Man. It pisses me off. I love Ant-Man.
So Ant-Man to me
has nothing to do with the meme. I swear to God, I loved Ant-Man since the first one.
Ant-Man to me is this bizarre character.
I swear to God,
because Ant-Man. So canonically, he's a fucking cunt, dude. Look into his history.
Okay, but he's awesome in the movies.
So he's a wife beater. He's a scumbag.
Well, that sucks. That's a shame. Fuck the comic Ant-Man. I like my movie Ant-Man.
So yeah. So
does he kind of mellow out when he becomes a hero?
This is all while he's a fucking hero.
Oh, that's a shame.
So yeah, he's a cunt in the comics and in the cartoon, and yeah.
What about him getting his taco blown out of his hand? And then Hulk just like passing him 2 tiny tacos from the Hulk hand.
It's just
every time Ant-Man's on screen, I'm just like, oh, my precious boy.
Ant-Man on screen, ever since they've introduced him, I'm like, are they going to portray him as a dick? Of course they're not. It's Disney. They don't want to.
I mean, early Stark was plenty of dick, I'll be honest.
Oh yeah, he was plenty of dick, but he wasn't that level of dick.
Yeah, no, but what I do want to say is, just to kind of rep Ant-Man for a little bit here. One, because this is a scene I wanted to talk about more of. When he just gets yeeted out of the fucking quantum thing, right? And that whole scene where it's been 5 years and he's just like experiencing what the world is now, having no idea what the fuck happened. Such a good scene.
Oh my God, yes. So him coming out, going to the wall of the vanished, as they call it here.
Yeah.
Looking for his daughter, coming back to his daughter,
meeting his daughter, who is now 5 years older.
So she's like what? 15?
I'm not sure what she was originally, but like, I mean, the last time we saw, like, if you remember in Ant-Man and the Wasp, he made that like giant cardboard slide with her. Yeah. And she was young. I mean, she was like, like her voice was significantly like, yay, Dad, that kind of young, so.
So the question is, how how old is she here?
I imagine
And are
10 to like probably like, you know, before puberty to after puberty is what we're looking at here. You know, like the growth
It looked like
spurt
she
era.
had, yeah, it looks like she had the Invisalign braces on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So maybe 13 to 15. Are they going to make her stature now?
I don't know.
That's my question to the comic book fans who get that fucking reference.
What else? Now, like I was. Oh yeah, one last thing I wanted to say about Ant-Man, just because of I think the moment I fell in love with him was Civil War, because Ant-Man really has this like, I'm just here. I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm not gonna question it, but I'm gonna roll with it, right? And I like that attitude. So like, two scenes that I loved with Ant-Man in Civil War was when he's meeting, because he's a huge fan of Captain America. As you can see, that carries over to this movie with him complimenting his fucking ass awkwardly. But like in Civil War, what I love in Civil War, there's this scene that I quote to this day where he's shaking Captain America's hand. He's like, "Captain America, wow, oh my God, big fan. I'm shaking your hand too long." He's still shaking his hand that whole time, and he just
So here's another little Easter egg, and this one went over my head till I watched that video. So Wasp kind of made fun of him when he's like, "Cap needed help. Captain America needed help." And she's like, "I'm on it, Cap," in this movie.
Oh.
So like,
that's nice.
Like, we have all these little throwbacks, little minor Easter eggs, if you will, to everything that's led to this fucking moment. Like,
that's so much attention to detail.
It really is. So that's why I honestly want to plug that fucking video. Like, it's just so many things. You're watching 3 hours and 2 minutes worth of content here.
Mm-hmm.
So many little tiny details went over my head until I watched that. I'm like, holy shit. I'm going to have to watch
that video. Yeah. And by the way, the other best scene from Ant-Man in Civil War was where he's just fucking with Tony, where he's just, he goes into Tony's suit and he's just like
I'm your conscience.
He's like, because Tony's like, who is speaking right now? And he's just like, it's your conscience. We don't talk a lot.
And really, they fucking don't.
Like, genuinely, I think now that Tony's dead, my two favorites are Doctor Strange and Ant-Man. I gotta be honest.
So, I think we've covered everything in the movie at this point.
Oh, another video we have to... I'm sorry, one more thing. Another video we have to plug is the interviewer that literally asked the Ant-Man... that asked the Ant-Man actor about the Thanos butt meme. And I love his reaction because he's just like... what do you think? Could Ant-Man defeat Thanos by crawling up his ass? And then the actor's like so bewildered, and he's like, I don't know.
I love that Josh Brolin was just sitting on the shitter, responding to it as well. And the Russo brothers' Instagram was a fucking Thanos ass meme.
And pure ass
Paul
Paul
fell
Rudd.
in love with this.
Pure Paul Rudd is just like, he like for 5 minutes in this video, he's just like, wow, my mind is racing with possibilities and just considering it.
It's just so fucking... I love the cast of the MCU.
Me too, except for Brie Larson.
They have really adapted to their fucking position here. Mm-hmm. What do you... If Chris Hemsworth went for an interview in 10 years, this was a fucking meme one of my friends posted up on Facebook after I had stayed off Facebook all fucking day till I saw this movie. I did not want to see it.
You weren't responding to my messages.
I'm like, I'm not logging into dick today. Fuck everything. Because the last time I logged in during a movie like this, everything was a fucking spoiler. Social media can suck my dick during a fucking...
I think you just follow the wrong people, because I didn't have an issue with it.
I had fucking Force Awakens spoiled. I had Logan spoiled, although I already knew how the fuck Logan ended, so I didn't really mind that one because I read fucking Old Man Logan way back when I first ran. But, like, yes, I kind of do follow a lot of assholes on social media. Mm. Most of them are my friends from high school and shit, but, and they love to be dicks. So I literally go through and unfollow if you spoil shit. And if you would have spoiled it in game, you would have met my fucking block button. Mm-hmm. But no, if fucking Chris Hemsworth or Robert Downey Jr. or any of these actors went into an interview, got out of acting, anything, if they went into an interview and they're like, "What was your last job?" Do you think they would list Avengers?
Um. Well, like you mean an interview for like a genuine real life job?
Yep.
That's not gonna happen.
Like,
there's no way in hell that would ever happen.
I was Thor in the Avengers for the last 10 years.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Like,
that's funny.
like it's the absurdity of it all. But like, it really got me thinking. Like, if any of these people wanted to quit acting, which they all could, and just wanted to have like a normal everyday fucking job, number one, they would be constantly swarmed.
They couldn't do it. There's no way. Like you wouldn't be able to work anywhere without being harassed constantly. And then it would become a fucking story. Like, look at the Burger King that Chris Hemsworth works at, and then it would be a fucking problem, and it would get fucking rated all the time. There's no, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, but like, it's bizarre that these people have been in these roles, most of them for a decade now.
Yeah.
They have done nothing else.
Honestly, yeah, they've been really embodied those characters. Yeah.
So Robert Downey Jr. hasn't done another movie since.
I'll be very curious to see what he does now, because he's wanted this like time, this free time to be able to like actually do other movies. I'm very curious to see what he wants to work on.
So I think his last movie was The Game of Shadows, the second Sherlock Holmes movie, and then nothing since then.
Yeah.
Fucking Chris Hemsworth has done one other movie, that
Men in Black.
Heart of the Sea or whatever, that fucking
Who knows?
shipwreck movie. Cap hasn't done shit, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. I think some of them actually just want to like take a break from acting too. I think.
Oh, I would not blame a single one of them.
By the way, fun fact: Mark Ruffalo, the guy that does Hulk, Bruce Banner.
Yep.
He gets extra cool points because he's a Bernie Sanders supporter.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm just like, honestly, this is, and fucking, you know, Cap gets fucking plenty of points because he shits on Trump constantly. His entire Twitter is just retweeting Trump, rebutting everything he says. So yeah, that's fucking funny. But no, I honestly, where these actors go from here is going to be intriguing, because now they have a dedicated fan base just from being an Avenger. So
I agree.
Now,
yeah, I mean, any movie they're attached to now, people will come and see it. Yeah.
Exactly. Kind of like everybody went to see Aquaman because fucking
Jason
Momoa.
Well, everyone went to see Aquaman because all of their girlfriends were thirsting over him. I witnessed it, man. I'm in a friend group with multiple women consistently. Even the kind of gay ones were like, I mean, goddamn.
I honestly, he's good looking. I'm not gonna lie. He's also a conceited prick, so I can kind of relate.
Like, with real life? Oh, that's a shame.
You know, he kind of let the Game of Thrones fame get to him a bit. But that's normal for somebody that's had one really big role and just like has to adapt to that. Really.
Can I also? I just think this is poignant because it kind of fits in with our channel here. Literally just now, as we're filming this, King of Lightning just tweeted out about Endgame, and I want to read what he said, because at the end it gets kind of funny. It says, just came out of Endgame movie theater, freaking entertaining, some of the best fight scenes I've seen in the MCU, hilarious as fuck, some issues, but I'd say 7.5 to 8 out of 10. And then it said, note, there was a lot of clapping for the movie, but no one clapped for Captain Marvel, and then a laughing Thor gif from King of Lightning.
I honestly, there was like 3 or 4 people who were clapping for Captain Marvel because of the Saitamaing of the ship.
That was a good ass. It's just funny how much fucking. It's almost sad how much hatred. Like, I wish that they wrote her better. I wanted Captain Marvel to be cooler than that for sure.
She, like I said, in the comics, she is a much better written character.
Hopefully, maybe a sequel to Captain Marvel can really dive into like more of her personality. I would hope.
Oh yeah, I honestly hope so, because I honestly love her in the comics. I'm a sucker for fucking these overpowered characters, which is kind of ironic because I hate overpowered characters in fucking manga.
There's a way to do it right and a way to do it wrong. But I'll say, since this video is approaching an hour and a half and I'm tired, final thoughts.
Okay, final thoughts for me is...
By the way, just fun fact, this video is so long that most movies would be wrapping up by now.
Right? Goddamn. Final thoughts for me is, it seems like we're going into like a Young Avengers territory with Wanda, Vision, Kate Bishop, all these new characters that are being introduced through the Disney Plus series.
I'm really hoping it's not all Disney Plus. I mean, we're still gonna get another phase of like Marvel movies in theaters, right?
Yeah, we're still getting another Marvel movie phase in theaters, and that's something I wanted to bring up because I had it saved on my phone. We have.
I know Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is a thing. I know.
Yep.
What else?
So right now, the tentative dates, if go ahead. So we have tentative dates for all of the Phase 4 movies going out May 1st of 2020, July 31st, 2020, November 6th, 2020, February 12th, 2021, May 7th, 2021. Perfect birthday present for me.
Do we know what the movies are?
I'll get to those in a minute because they haven't really said which are going which, but these are the dates. We have November 5 of 2021, February 18 of 2022, May 6, 2022, and July 29, 2022. So right now we have a Shang-Chi movie, which is really interesting because this is a character from the 70s. No real superpowers, really more of a kung fu movie, so that's really interesting that we're going that route.
So a kung fu movie taking place in the Marvel Universe.
Yep, which kind of, we kind of had with Iron Fist in the Netflix series, but, he still had some sort of powers.
Right.
We're getting a Black Panther 2.
Oh.
Which is interesting. I honestly, lately Black Panther's been getting a lot of it was overhyped. No, it really wasn't. They created an entire fucking culture.
No, it was good. It wasn't my favorite, but it was really good.
It wasn't my favorite. But
I want to see more now. It's one of those things where now that we can get past the introduction, I want to see what they can do with the sequel for sure.
Exactly. And they've been hit or miss with sequels in the MCU.
Yeah, that's true.
Doctor Strange 2.
Yes.
We're getting a we're getting an Eternals movie, which is supposed to introduce the first gay character.
All right.
Hopefully it's not being cast solely for the sake of.
Well, here, get a gay person to write the gay character, so they'll probably do a little better.
Exactly. Which we've already met one person that was in this, Thanos. This is Thanos is part of the Eternals comics, really. So we might get a step into his past this way. This world was created by Jack Kirby, so yes.
Oh,
they've shifted Chloe Zhao, who was supposed to be the helm of the Black Widow movie.
No, what about
into this.
I know the next Spider-Man movie is in a couple months, right?
Yep, that's being teased now as part of Phase 3, which is weird because it was supposed to launch Phase 4 originally, but Kevin Feige's like, fuck it.
Well,
we need something to cap all the sad.
Yeah. What about no word on like a third Ant-Man?
No word on a third Ant-Man yet. We also have obviously that Black Widow movie coming up. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now, where we go from here is going to be super, super intriguing for me, at least.
Me too.
Because we have essentially neutered the Avengers because they're without a real lead.
Well, yeah, I mean,
really.
Now's the time to really, hand over the torch. It's a very Goku to Oob moment, Like, now's the time to hand over...
Which went nowhere.
Yeah, true. But now's the time to hand over that torch to the new generation, And I'm looking forward to it. I think there's so many comics out there. There's a lot they could do with it.
So what I'm thinking they're doing here is when I was a kid, there was a little animated movie, Young Avengers, I believe is what it was called, which kind of saw the role of the heroes be passed down to the kids, and we saw them training their kids and blah, blah, blah. So we're kind of going down that with this road. And we've got that comics line being like the next Avengers and shit. We have all these really, really bizarre characters that really didn't fit well into their original role. Also, now we have potentially in Phase 5 the return of the X-Men. So Scarlet Witch is in a fucked up place because she's technically an X-Men and she's also an Avenger.
And she's also pissed about... Oh, yeah, that was another actually great scene I loved. You took everything from me. Thanos is like, I don't even know you.
You will. I'm like, God damn.
That's another thing I love about time travel, by the way, the concept of time travel. People being angry at people for doing shit that they haven't done yet.
Right.
One of my favorite scenes from Doctor Who. I got it. Next time we hang out, bro, I gotta get you. There's a scene in Doctor Who where this woman walks up to the doctor, slaps the fuck out of him, just boom, right across the face. And the doctor's just like, I'm gonna assume that's for something I haven't done yet, and she's like, you would be accurate in that assumption, and he's like, great, looking forward to it.
So here's the interesting concept of this movie, because technically they reversed everything from the snap. So we still have one dead Quicksilver.
Not everything. Vision's still dead. They couldn't bring back. Vision's still dead. Gamora is a different Gamora.
Yeah. Well, technically, the original Gamora is still trapped in the Soul Stone, which makes sense because everybody that snaps goes into the stone.
The Soul Stone was destroyed, so I imagine they're fully dead now.
Yeah, that's true and not true, because maybe in this universe, Vision's still being rebuilt by Shuri.
But that doesn't mean that they would have they were trying to rebuild him without the Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, get out of here.
So we got that. We got that timey-wimey bullshit.
And they also couldn't bring back Black Widow either. So we have
because
some
she's in the current one.
Permadeaths.
We have Black Widow in the current universe's Soul Stone. Fucking time travel.
I don't know if you realize the stones to my knowledge, they seem to be destroyed.
Yeah, well, the new one that was on the Tony Stark gauntlet that went back into its wherever the fuck it ended up in the split off universes. But
interesting, yeah, we didn't really find out. All right.
So we still have one dead Quicksilver, but we have one Quicksilver entering the universe. Because they're essentially going to be bringing the X-Men into it, theoretically. So, are we going to keep Miss Olsen as Scarlet Witch? Are we going to recast Scarlet Witch? I think it was Evan Peters from American Horror Story playing fucking Quicksilver here? Or no, that was the one in the Fox universe, and then we have the dude that played Kick-Ass, Aaron Taylor Johnson, playing the meat shield Quicksilver. Are we going to start referring to them as mutants? Or are they still going to be gifted?
Insert, let me see if I can find the fucking clip. I was going to try to get the clip from Deadpool where he's just like, oh, these timelines are so confusing.
So, yeah, now we've really gotten into some fucking bullshit. So, Phase 5 is going to be the really interesting one, because we weren't going to touch on anything Fox acquired until then.
Now, Phase 5, let's be honest here. At some point, someone is going to be an absolute mad lad and put Deadpool in the Marvel Universe.
I honestly want to see, and this has been said for years,
Wolverine.
Well, it's not going to be Hugh Jackman. I think
no, that's not true.
Done.
Listen, I am holding on to hope, because Hugh Jackman, after Logan, he was in an interview, and what he exactly said in this interview was, I will not come back for a mainline Wolverine movie, but I would be open to cameos and Easter eggs. That's what he said. So, I'm just saying, maybe a really quick little just a scene with Deadpool and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, please.
I would pay money for that.
Oh.
I will spend my $13.50 for a movie ticket for that.
Yeah.
Because I want an Easter egg. So here is
Deadpool 3. Just have a scene where Deadpool's just harassing, I'm gonna go harass Wolverine now.
Worth every penny, but
he'll kill me, but I'll heal.
Will you, Deadpool? It took a fucking meteor to kill him in one.
Oh, I know. No, I remember. I know one of the comics. It wasn't even a meteor. One of the comics was a parallel version of Earth crashing into the other version of Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just Earths colliding and.
That's awesome.
And fucking. Yeah, it's Deadpool, man. I honestly want to see Deadpool take the role of Stan Lee. And just fucking. Just be the shitposty cameo in the
Deadpool
MCU now.
Cameos and everything, bro. That would be so funny.
It's been a meme for years. When Stan Lee finally dies, we need Deadpool to take that role. He's gone. It's sad, but I want Deadpool to be the cameo now.
By the way, remind me, did he have a cameo in this one? I may have missed it.
He was in the 1970s in the Nuff Said car that went by. It was 3 seconds.
Was it the one where he was driving past the military base?
Yep.
Yeah,
that was Stan Lee.
I thought that was him, but it looked semi-different.
Yep, that is his final cameo. You know
right.
what? This makes a lot of what we've seen in the previews for Spider-Man Far From Home make a lot of sense. Pepper Potts signing the Stark Industries check. Fucking Happy Hogan delivering it. all of that's making sense now because
Yeah. You know, and
Tony Stark's
something that I'm hoping to see in Spider-Man Far From Home is like Peter dealing with the death of Tony, you know? And not even just Peter dealing with that, but like the whole world. Because something that we didn't see in this movie that I wanted to see in this movie was the world reacting to it. Because it's not, you know, he had a small funeral, which means they must have kept the location private for good reason. But let's remember, Tony Stark is a international celebrity, not just because he's a billionaire, but also because he's fucking Iron Man, and everyone knows that. So I want to see the world mourning too. I want to see on the news stories and like people, you know, gathering in mass to like give thanks to him, and you know, so I'm hoping to see clips of that in Far From Home where like Peter's talking about like, oh, the world moving on from Tony's death. I really hope they do something like that.
So the question is now, for moving forward, we obviously see Tony getting new suits in Far From Home's trailer. Like the stealth suit, all that shit being delivered to him. Was that stuff that Tony built? Is that stuff that S.H.I.E.L.D. built? Or is that stuff that fucking Nick Fury built? Is that stuff
It may have been something that Tony built a long time ago that he was planning on giving to Peter one day, but like, yeah. Like it could be like, oh, well, he's dead now, so here's all this shit that he built for you. He said in his will, you know, I wouldn't put it past Tony to have a will or like some sort of note where it's like, if I die, give all this. Here's a box of shit I was going to give to Peter.
So we obviously also have to come to terms with like who's going to run all of the fucking Avengers related activities moving forward. Are we even going to have Avengers, you know, moving forward? You know, it's so. This leaves so many possibilities open. Obviously, we're probably going to have Falcon and fucking War Machine and all them taking on that role. Who's going to build the tech now? Is it all just going to be?
I wonder if so. Bruce Banner, he's found peace now. So I wonder what is he doing? Is he just going around like does he? I wonder what he does with his life.
Right.
We definitely need to find these things out for sure. And final thoughts for you?
It's going to be an interesting trip moving forward for the MCU. Where they go from here determines, will we only keep... Because they kind of bridged the mainstream and the hardcore fans with this movie, with a lot of the stuff that they've done. So are they only going to keep that one set of true fans for the MCU, or are they going to keep, you know, branching both worlds? Because with this movie slated to make $1 billion, roughly...
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're rumored to break $1 billion and beat Avatar. You know, you definitely created a hell of a universe. Can you keep that momentum now that
I
you've
hope they
killed off?
do. I really hope they do.
Now that they've killed off the two biggest stars in their fucking universe, or is it going to go downhill from here?
That's a good question. And you know, we have an interesting thing happening too, where DC is kind of starting to pick up steam as well. Like they're actually making some good shit now. So
with Shazam and Aquaman being good,
I'm
and
very interested to see if Joker is good.
Well, that one doesn't really fall into the DCEU. That falls into a whole other line of bullshit. Allegedly,
whatever. It's a DC movie.
Exactly.
Now I'm gonna end this video with a controversial opinion, and that is, I love this movie. I love it to death. I think Infinity War is better.
I honestly want to touch on one other thing. Because
my battery is going to die in 10 minutes, so 10 minutes or less.
It's going to be real quick. It was the ultimate tribute at the end, but I honestly want your opinion here. Were you okay with there being no real end credit scene?
Of course, I'm fine with that. Like, you know, like it was it'd be weird if like this really emotional ending, and then it's like, whoa, wacky end credit scene. You know.
Thank you. Everybody I've seen has been bitching about their.
Well, because they're idiots and they fucking probably sat there for 20 minutes waiting for one when all you have to do is Google, is there an end credit scene? And I did immediately, and it was like, nope. And I was like, all right, see ya, everybody.
Well, there was a little Easter egg at the end.
Yeah, there was some sound or some shit. I didn't give a fuck.
It was essentially Tony in the cave building the original Iron Man suit.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, it's not worth waiting for.
I'm like, it's a nice, touching tribute to the Fallen, really.
What could the fucking final scene could have possibly been? Like, what do you add on top of that, I guess, if you were to add one, you know?
If I were to add an end credit scene, I would have pretty much been like Nick Fury and Pepper Potts handing, you know, stuff over to Peter, like you were saying, or maybe them and the Avengers Tower, you know, where do we go from here? and then it fade to black. You know, something like that. Something quick, short.
Ant-Man having the realization, oh my god, I could have crawled up his butthole and beat him that way. I mean, if we're dabbing, I suppose we can do that meme too, huh?
Right, like little tiny things like that could have little tiny things like that could have been, you know, a nice little end credit scene. But it makes sense to not have one here because this is supposed to be the culmination of 10 years and 22 fucking films. I don't give a fuck that there wasn't one. It was a nice fitting end to everything.
No, but you really didn't respond to my controversial opinion of I think Infinity War is better than this. Just barely, but yeah.
I honestly kind of disagree because...
I figured you would. Honestly, I did. I think that's... my opinion comes from the fact that I loved Thanos. And I loved Thanos... I like that movie because it really breaks the mold in having Thanos be the main character, and I liked Thanos' ideology as a villain, and I feel like that was just kind of torn asunder in this movie. That's the main reason for me. They're about equal, but Infinity War, I think I'd be more eager to rewatch than this one. That's my thing. All right, for you?
Yeah. For me, I think this was a better, as a big-time comic fan and as a MCU fan, this one fit more in my vein because we're seeing both of those worlds kind of come together, little tiny Easter eggs here and there, and seeing them try to bridge that gap between the two audiences. So the older generation that grew up on the comics being able to introduce their younger generation and be like, oh, I read this, you know, back when I was your age, you know, and kind of introduce them to that universe as well. So that was kind of nice little...
It was, payoff-wise, there's no comparison, but, like, pure movie-to-movie basis, like...
Oh, yeah.
Infinity War. Something about Infinity War, just I don't know, man. Like I think it just blew my mind more than this one. Because I think Infinity War surprised me more than this one too. You know, again, I love it. I love both. We're talking like differences of like a 0.1 on the review scale. You know, just barely. They're both amazing for sure. And I guess you know, another thing that Infinity War had was that fucking scene, which is probably my favorite scene in any movie ever, which is where Thanos just pulls the fucking planet down. And I'm glad that was referenced in this movie, where they're like, oh, you know, how was you, you know, you fought him, and then he's just like, it was hardly a fight. He slapped me with a planet.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's obviously, you know, great moments like that in both of these movies.
It's just Thanos, bro. Oh. God, yes. That was my big thing. Were you disappointed by it just felt like there was barely any Thanos. Like, he was in the beginning, and then in the middle, there was, like, none of Thanos, and then he just really, really quickly at the end shows up for that fight scene, and then it just felt like Thanos was just a non-factor for most of the movie.
It kind of was Thanos being a non-factor, and it makes sense that they wanted to do the little time heist and do all this stuff. So yeah,
that's like my only, to clarify too, I'm nervous every time I say this that people are gonna think I'm like dissing on it. That's literally my only critique of the movie. Other than that, it's perfect.
Yeah, but
final thoughts? You know, are we good?
We'll do this shit again for Far From Home.
Oh yeah, we should start reviewing Marvel. I like it. And you know, these are fucking. That was okay. So we are sitting on an hour and 47 minutes. God damn. And with that,
we have officially made a movie for a movie.
Yeah. And with that, peace.